This is the second part of my DUI informative video. So let's assume that the police officer's made contact with you. You've done what I've told you to do in the past. You've kept your mouth shut. He tells you get out of the car. You have to get out of the car. Don't sit there in the car. That's a simple instruction. It's got to be followed. Because if you do not get out of the car voluntarily, he's going to pull your ass out of that car, and God knows what's going to happen after that. So get out of the car, and then he's going to probably say in this order, I want you to do some field sobriety tests. And field sobriety tests consist of standing on one foot with your leg out about 6 inches off the ground and counting to 30. Don't do it. He's going to ask you to look at a stimulus or typically a pen, and tell you to follow it with your eyes. Nobody passes or fails that test really. That's not, too many people think following the pen, oh, I passed it. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for what's called nystagmus, which is a jerking action. The test is called a horizontal gaze nystagmus test. Do not do that. Tell the police officer you don't want to. He wants you to do a walk and turn test where you walk along a straight line. Don't do it. And the one thing I can tell you, by invoking your rights relative to not having to do those, they can, and they being the government, can comment on that in front of a jury, which is really sad, but your Fifth Amendment right to keep your mouth closed does not go to actions. In other words, walk in a straight line, so they can comment on it. But if you've been drinking and you do field sobriety tests, and you're trying to walk a straight line that maybe doesn't even exist, or you're trying to keep your leg up in the air, you're trying to touch your nose, you are not going to pass in that cop's opinion. You are always going to fail, or he's going to take accumulation of everything he's seen, the odor of alcohol, watery and bloodshot eyes, maybe a slight swerve within your lanes on the road, the fact you couldn't do a field sobriety test, at least according to the police officer. They're going to take that, all lump it together and say, now I've got probable cause to arrest you, and they will. Now, you've done way too much, made my job much, much harder, and the chances of you getting acquitted, if you end up going to trial, are slim. Your obligation to give a blood or breath test or tests or a urine sample is sort of endless. You have to do that. You're obligated to do that if he asks you, and you're under arrest. You have to be under arrest for your obligation to kick in. If you're not under arrest, you don't have to give a blood, breath, or urine sample. Case in point, he might have a little portable breath testing device, they're about this big, and have you blow into it at the scene to give him probable cause to show the presence of alcohol. Don't do it. You have no obligation to do that. But if somehow he's been able to put together this package of probable cause and he places you under arrest, then your obligation to give blood, to blow into a big machine, the real machine, typically called an Intoxilizer 8000 at the station or in a DUI van, or give urine if it's possibly a drug case, whether it be pot, Xanax, whatever, you have to do it. And if they want you to do a breath test, a urine test, and a blood test, you got to do all three. There's no limit. If you don't do it, if you refuse, one, they're going to get it. They're going to get a search warrant. I've never seen a search warrant refused yet, or have a judge not sign one when police went to go get one. And once they get that, a jury will hear about that. A jury will hear how you refused, and a jury instruction that the jury will read and take the facts of what they've heard in a courtroom is weighed against you. In other words, if you refuse to do something you're obligated to by law, which is give blood, breath, or urine, and you don't do it voluntarily, which you have to, that's a condition of owning or having a driver's license in Arizona, then it's going to look bad for you in front of a jury. So you have to do that. You know, win, lose, or draw, and whatever the reading is, deal with that in a courtroom down the road, but you got to do it. So if you do those things, and if you've done them the way I've said to do them, 99 of 100 times you won't be booked, you'll be written a ticket, they'll call you a cab or Uber or whatever and send you on your way. If you're a jerk, you've been uncooperative to the point where you've been rude, nasty, fought with the police, whatever, you're going to jail and you're going to spend the night in jail and get out the next morning. So you can avoid that. I've even seen police officers drive people home because they've been pleasant enough and cooperative enough that they've done that. I've actually seen it happen more often. I don't know why, but I have. Always. They've got a crummy job, but they're accusing you of something, and you may not have done it. You might have totally clean hands. But again, listen to my advice. Be nice. Things will go better for everybody down the road. Thank you. If you have any questions or ideas for these video topics, please email me at lawyer@chuckfranklin.com. That's lawyer@chuckfranklin.com. And I'll consider your topic, and maybe you'll see yourself on my video channel. Thank you.